Hey guys, this is Kane 15. I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with some more Batwoman Season 2, Episode 8 review. I'm kind of on borrowed time because I have to do something real quick, but I'm going to give the best of my abilities to have this review really done. So it may be a short review. Essentially, what this week of Batwoman covered in Episode 8 was obviously the whole, well, not the whole gang, but some members of the Batwoman. We see Jacob, Sophie, and we also see Alice all go back to, or go to Coriana to essentially try to get Kate. Now we know why Alice is trying to get Kate, and she wants to kill her. While we know Jacob and Sophie want to get Kate to be able to save her and stuff like that. Also, in the meantime, Ryan needs to get to Coriana to get a desert rose flower so she can heal her kryptonite poisoning and everything. So one thing in the Ryan storyline is that she takes like an adrenaline, type of drug to make sure the pain isn't killing her to the point. So she shoots herself up, essentially. And then two, before she leaves, she asks Mary to take care of her plant, even though Mary's reluctant to do it. She's like, "Listen, this is the only thing I have left of my mother. So just keep it just in case, I die, and make sure it's like a last image of myself." It was nice, a nice scene. Obviously, they're making, but I was like, okay, why are they making this such a big deal about the plant? We'll get to the end of the when we get to the end of this review. I'll say why there's such a big issue with this. Or the big, I guess you can say MacGuffin with this episode in terms of the plant. Now, what happens is that eventually Luke tells Sophie that she's working with Batwoman and that she's dying, and that they need a desert rose flower to be able to heal her. Sophie goes to is like, okay, fine, I'll work with you. She goes with Jacob to go to the island of Coriana not only to retrieve Kate, but to also get a desert rose flower, even though Jacob Kane is reluctant to help out Batwoman. Again, kind of being stubborn like he was in the first season. It's like, dude, like even Sophie's in there, like, I think we're just making this a little bit too far. I think we're taking this a little bit too far with Batwoman. She's like trying to save people and stuff like that. But okay, yeah. Anyways, what happens? They get caught by Safia's men and they get taken to Coriana. They get imprisoned and everything. You come over to Alice's side of the story, and Alice presents the body of Ocean, well, the fake body of Ocean, to Safia. And I was reading this scene. I'm like, please don't tell me like Safia can be this fucking stupid. Like, she can't be this stupid. Lo and behold, she actually is that stupid. And there was like a part where it makes it think like, oh, she's got him. She figured it out because in this whole scene she's saying silly girl, stupid girl, essentially mocking her and everything. And it's like she's touching the fake Ocean's face and like she's gonna pull off the fucking mask. Now she doesn't pull off the mask yet, but it's like, really? Really? She essentially explains that, she loved Alice and everything, and why it didn't make sense why Alice would betray her and everything because she loved Ocean and stuff like that. So what happens is Batwoman, Orion, she flies down in the bat suit to be able to get on the island of Coriana. It was funny because the scene was she was freaking out because it was like her first time skydiving out of a plane, so that was funny. She puts this EMP pulse to make sure that like she's able to keep in contact with Luke and the others, but eventually that gets shut down. She comes across the flowers, or like essentially, I guess you can say the field of flowers, the desert rose flowers. And then when it looks like she's about to go get one, which I don't understand why she wasn't running to freaking get it, you see obviously Safia's men essentially just come around and essentially take her prisoner. They eventually bring her to Safia, and essentially Ryan, as Batwoman, gives the hint that nothing, by telling Safia like nothing's all you is not what you see. Essentially hinting about the freaking um, ocean body. So what happens is she gets onto this, and she actually pulls off the facial mask of Ocean, and essentially that's when she gets freaking pissed, and she's like, "You lied to me. you still have feelings for him, as she's telling this to Alice, and she's like, lock her up. Essentially, we get a conversation between Alice and Ryan, and essentially, Ryan is like, listen, you say you want to kill your sister, but let's be honest, you really don't want to kill your sister because she's the only person you have really left that actually would still have some semblance of belief left in you or something not to give up on you yet. And again, it's like also Alice is watching, essentially Ryan cough up her own blood and everything because obviously it's starting to, the effects is starting to take a tear on her body and it's starting really to freaking affect her like really bad. So what happens next is they eventually bring Alice out and we actually see that Sophia and her men actually captured the real Ocean. Now, don't tell me how the fuck they. Okay, here's one of my. I enjoyed the episode. The episode was eventful. But here's one thing I will say: like, what the hell? Okay, so you're telling me you couldn't find this man Ocean for the longest time. You need to have made Alice go find him and then try to kill him. But in the same exact episode, you find him with utter ease. That ease. You track him down, you find him, and you bring him already back to the island of Coriana in a matter of hours. So why did you make Alice do all this stuff? Why did you make her do all this stuff when you could have found Ocean your damn self? That's a plot. That's a bad writing point. You can't tell me, they make Alice try to look for Ocean, and you have Sophia saying, I can't find this guy. I can't. He's been long gone for years. And lo and behold, in the same episode, you just ask your people to find Ocean, and lo and behold, in that same episode, he's already there, and you find him with utter ease. Yeah, that makes total sense. The writing on that was actually really bad. I'm not gonna lie. Now thinking back at it, it's really fucking bad. It's like it's a fucking coincidence that they just magically find him in like less than a day. Okay. Anyways, what happens is Sophia's like, you want to see your sister Kate? Well, kill him like you stabbed the dagger through that fake man. And essentially you have this emotional talk between what is it, Alice and Ocean. You think Alice gonna kiss him, but she doesn't really kiss him. She kind of just gets her face up next to his ear and she's like, I'm so sorry and stuff like that. And that's when she stabs the dagger in his heart and kills him. And yeah, we're led to believe Ocean is dead. Well, as the whole incident too, we cut back to Gotham with Mary and Luke, and essentially they're getting attacked by one of Sophia's minions. And essentially what happens is they easily take that assassin out. So again, another, I guess you can say, bad writing point. You're supposed to be like, I guess, League of Assassins 2.0. You're supposed to be like one of the top freaking people in Sophia's people. You're an assassin, essentially. You're telling me on contact, you don't have like some sort of like darts or some sort of knives where you just throw it on contact to Luke and Mary? Like you just had some sort of pole with some like type of the spiky like balls on the ends. And guess what? This assassin easily gets knocked out because they take one shot of a freaking glass like bottle to the freaking dome and they're knocked out. Now, if you're an assassin, you should be trained to take hits like that. So yeah, you're knocked out. The person's knocked out bleeding on the damn floor. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be an assassin. I was literally laughing. I'm like, bruh, what a waste of an assassin. You get knocked out by Luke and Mary that fucking easy. And speaking of it, also too, they have to get the freaking Ryan's plant. And I'm like, how the fuck did that freaking plant, the little vase that's holding the plant in? One, how did it not break? Two, how did the assassin that fall on it didn't make it break? They get it. The guys start switching. We see Julia make her return in for the first time in a while. The assassin gets up, and all Julia does is just throw a damn dagger and stabs the damn freaking stabs the assassin in the chest, and the assassin's dead. I thought there was no kill rules up in here. Okay, Julia just like, bye then. Boom, just hit him with the dagger, and the assassin goes down just like that. So Sophia's assassin was a wasted type of friggin', I guess you could say, in terms of what is it? I guess stakes for Mary and Luke to get out of. Yeah, makes fucking sense. Okay, great. That's probably the weakest assassin I've ever seen in any damn TV show. You not only get beat by a bottle of glass and knocked out, then presumably you get back and wake up, only for you to get a dagger thrown in your heart and you're dead. Okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. Okay. I'm sounding like I didn't like this episode. And I am pointing out the flaws in this episode, no lie. But I still, regardless of all the BS that happened in this episode, I enjoyed this. I'm sorry, but the assassin when Julia just threw the dagger, I'm like, damn. I literally started laughing. I was like, this guy got murked with utter ease. Like, no offense at all. No offense. The only offense that assassin did was breaking the table. After that, no offense whatsoever. Gets knocked out by Mary and then presumably gets killed by a dagger thrown by. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. That is so funny. I know I'm talking so much about that, but I'm literally dying when I replay that scene in my head. Like, it's that funny of a scene. Like, dude, this is the weakest assassin ever. Anyways, we cut over back to the island of Coriana, and what we see is kind of a simultaneously type of thing we see Jacob and Sophie eventually escape. And speaking of another easy fodder character, Tatiana's weak as shit, bro. Like, she presumably gets beat. I'm like, she's a trained assassin too. She presumably gets beat up by Jacob and Sophie with utter ease. Knocked out. That made Sophie and Jacob get out. So I was like, Tatiana is worthless. She gets captured by. Yeah. Anyways, what happens next is, we get a simultaneous side-by-side scene with Alice and Julia finding out the truth about what happened to Kate. And essentially, what Julia was saying that, there was a part where we just saw whole parts of potty parts and stuff like that in Oregon, stuff like that. And at the same time, you see Alice open up the room and you just see like these little dangly things and stuff like that. And I'm like, did Sophia like cut up her body into so many pieces where there's just what left of Kane is just like these little tiny pieces of her blood? It makes Alice, and essentially Julia says like, yeah, we did the autopsy, and essentially what happened is we found out that those organs belong to Kate Kane. So Kate Kane's dead. And we get the confirmation here that Kate Kane is dead. Well, until I get to the end of the video, we talk about that Kate Kane has got recasted. Anyways, this freaks what's-her-face out like crazily. This makes Alice freak out like crazy. He's trying to kill her and stuff like that, kill Sophia, but guess what? It's not gonna freaking work. So yeah, it's freaking it's getting hectic. Eventually that's when, in order I guess retaliation, Alice burns the crops in the fields of Desert Rose Flower. Sophia sees this and she gets very fucking emotional. She's like, no, my flowers. Yeah. Wonderful. I didn't give them the two fucks. Okay. Yeah, you have Batwoman and Sophie essentially sit side by side because Ryan doesn't want to die alone. So Sophie sits and she essentially apologizes for judging her and stuff like that. But that's when Luke calls Sophie and says, because Luke's like, bring that one here. And essentially, he's like, no, she doesn't want to be here. She wants to die here. And she's like, no, we got the cure. And essentially what we find out is the plant that Ryan's had this entire time that she got from Angelique that was, that she was going to give to her mother. We find out that the pot was very important because it had the Desert Rose Flower to begin with this entire time. I guess it makes sense because Angelique was kind of in cahoots with Ocean. So of course it makes sense that, oh, the mysterious plant, that was actually a Desert Rose Flower, because we see in the next episode preview, what's her face is A-OK. Ryan. Now the end credit scene, we see, I guess, the leftover residue body of Kane. I'm guessing what that is. So her body's still intact because we see the necklace and everything. That's kind of where the episode ends off, and yeah, I thought it was a solid episode. It, like I said, or stated early in the review, there was some issues with the episode that I did have in terms of writing points and stuff like that. But okay, now let's get to the. I guess you can say odd, the the one odd thing in the room. Oh, hey guys. I actually, what you're seeing is my after recording. Now, what I forgot to mention in my Batwoman review before it cuts back to the Batwoman portion of the review is I forgot to mention the fact is after the whole revelation happened with Alice finding out about Kane, what we see is we cut back to Sophia. She pulls the dagger out of Ocean, and we find out that some of the desert rose flower residue was on that dagger. And essentially it brings Ocean back to life, which wow. It seems like Sophia wants Ocean to work with her again, and stuff like that, and say, "Do not betray me" and everything. Again, now I don't know if Ocean's gonna go scot-free, so that's probably the lingering plot line where maybe Alice finds Ocean again. In the meantime, the next person who takes the dagger is good old Tatiana. Yeah, essentially Sophia's like, you betrayed me. You caused all this from the beginning and stuff like that. And essentially Tatiana's like, look, I loved you. And essentially Sophia's like, you just because of your jealousy, you ruined this whole thing from the start. I could have had Alice working for me, yada yada yada. We wouldn't even be in a situation if it wasn't for you. So then she stabs Tatiana in the heart, and Tatiana's dead. And as she's telling Ocean, listen, do not pull that dagger out unless I say so, unless I can get her, unless I can trust her again. Which I was like, damn. Okay. But yeah, anyways, that was all I got to say. So anyways, guys, back to your regularly scheduled review. I forgot. Okay. So if you didn't hear at all, if you didn't hear, like if you stayed off the internet and stuff like that, I'm going to say it. Also, too, if you do not want to hear this news for spoiler reasons for Batwoman, please click off the video right now. I'm giving you one more chance to click off the video because I'm going to go into it. Okay. Okay. Spoilers for anybody regarding potentially the future of Batwoman. Again, click off the video if you don't want to hear. Last chance. Anyways, if you're gone now, don't get mad at me for spoiling some things. It's not going to be a storyline, but it's essentially regards to the Kane character. I find it a coincidence we get this episode finding out that Kane is dead, only to find out that there were articles posting that guess what? Kane now has a new recasted actor, and that is Wallace Day as the new Kane, as the recasted Kane. So I guess CW really did not want to bring Ruby Rose back because they must have been highly disgusted with what she did. Again, I'll just say this. In the terms of the CW, I don't blame them for one not wanting to bring Ruby Rose back for maybe an episode, because what she did was kind of freaking what she did was kind of a dick move and kind of a really bad move on her part. I don't know if I really talked about it, but I didn't like the way how Ruby Rose just upped and left. I was fine with her performance as Kane, not overbearing as most people were, saying, oh, her acting's atrocious and stuff like that. But the reason why I was upset at Ruby Rose was like, well, why did you sign up to do the role if you were just going to quit after one season of the show? Because then you just messed up the entire show and its storyline. If it could get even more potential seasons in season 3. We got a season 3 confirmation. We don't know if it's going to get more than that, And some people say the show could potentially, and it should end by season 3, because the stunt Ruby Rose pulled, and that could potentially more than likely happen because of what Ruby Rose does. So Wallace Day is going to come in as the new Kane, and here's my only thing, and this is my issue with the CW and the Batwoman director of the show and even the writers too. Why not instead of do this whole Ryan storyline, because one, they barely focus on Ryan as is. Like, I like Ryan a lot, but they don't focus on her. They focus more on the other characters more than Ryan, to be honest. That what is what I will say. The things I like about Ryan, we've gotten. I really did like. Sometimes she does come across a little bit immature and stuff like that, but now sometimes we can spotlighting other characters and also keeping the whole Kane, is she alive or dead storyline. My critique is of the CW, the writers of Batwoman, and the directors is, if you were gonna just recast Kane that easy, and I think that in the article it said like she's gonna be an integral point going forward in the story when she finally makes her return. So technically, she's not really dead. So yeah, my thing is this: why did they? This is my thing. This is my thing. Why did they just not recast her from the start? Why did they not recast her from the start? Would have solved your entire issues. And it's like, you see this recasting, and it's like, they essentially made that recasting that simple. That simple. But the CW and the director of Batwoman, the directors of Batwoman, the writers of Batwoman wanted to make it tougher on themselves. Instead of just from the start recasting Batwoman, Kane, and just keeping the same storyline going on, you had to introduce the Ryan character and just have some sort of thing. Now, not to say that they fitted the Ryan character into the story, I would say the best they could do. But now looking back at now seeing that they easily just recasted Batwoman just like that, it's like, why did they not just, I don't know. Like, why did they just not like just recast it from the jump, from the start? They had this, and they had all this time when the Ruby Rose situation happened. They had all this time, and they waited a really good, while to have the whole plan of having Ryan come into the fold. You're telling me you had all this time, and now you just come to the conclusion, you know what? We're just going to recast her. Why didn't you do that back in the summertime when all the CW shows went off air and you found after the Ruby Rose situation happened and everything? Why not after a few months happened when you did the Ryan and Wilder announcement? You should have just came on and said, "Hey, we're recasting Ruby Rose's Kane character. We're having a new person play Kane and Batwoman." Why didn't you just do that and just have Wallace Day just come into the fold and be Batwoman and be the new Kane? We had to go through all this drama of who's going to be the new Kane. Are they going to recast? Yada, yada. This is why some of these directors, some of these things, it's so stupid. No, just do what the freaking Black Lightning did, even though the fourth season isn't the best. What did they do because China didn't want to stay on too long? They recasted her, even though they acknowledged the difference. You don't have to always acknowledge the difference if there's a freaking thing. Marvel did it with the Hulk. They recasted the old guy from the Incredible Hulk. I forgot his name. For Mark Ruffalo. The same thing could have happened with the Flash. I'll give the thing with the whole Hartley Sawyer thing. If they wanted to keep the elongated man of the story, just recast him from the jump and act as if nothing freaking happened. Like these movie studios, even my case with Black Panther, I know the Chadwick Boseman death was very tragic and it was just at the time, but I feel like Marvel, they're going to have a new person be recasted as T'Challa. Like, I don't understand what goes on these companies' heads thinking, no, let's not recast these characters because it's going to make no sense. No, just recast the characters and make it act as if they were the same person you last saw them on screen. Because guess what? That's what happened with the Hulk, if I'm mistaken. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo looks very different compared to the first actor of the Hulk. They never acknowledged the fact how different he looks. They always just considered him as Bruce Banner. Why not just recast these roles Like, why not just recast the roles and just act as if, well, guess what? That's always been Kane's look from the J, and they just, but they made it harder. And then we got a new Kane. Apparently, she's gonna be integral to the storyline, which again is question marks. Like, well, is she gonna be like back in the bat type of thing, but maybe be like, I guess you can say, a man in a girl in the chair, essentially. Yeah, it's cool that we got some clarity, but it's like, bro, what the hell are we doing? If you're gonna just recast a character that easy, you should have did it from the jump. Should have just recasted Kane from the start and moved on, and you could have continued this storyline with the full family dynamic. That's what they should have did. I've even said, I said at the time, like, just recast Kane. Just recast Kane. Just have a new person play Kane and act as if nothing happened. It continues the Alice Kate storyline, the Kate Jacob storyline. On when he will eventually find out that she's Batwoman. And guess what? You tore that all down just to have a whole new character come to the fore, and you barely have any screen time focused on her. Should have just recasted her. Should have just recasted her from the jump. So that's on the CW, that's on the Batwoman directors and the writers. They should have just all collectively said, you know what? Let's just recast Ruby Rose's Kane and have somebody just take up the role and act as if nothing happened and stuff like that. But for some reason, they were gung-ho of not doing that. Listen, if I was one of these people, I'd just be like, you know what, screw it. Recast her. Just get some additions in. Somebody come in, do it, recast her, and we're going to ask them. You do know you have to be committed to the role. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I thought it was a solid episode, so yeah. I'm going to get out of here, guys. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the video, as well as your thoughts on the recast for Kane, if you stayed long enough, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Batwoman content, as well as any other CW content on the channel. Till then, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.